Hello there, right here, and today we have a brand new experimental snapshot for 1.18. This is number 7, and with it, they have came out with some minor tweaks to the game, but they have some really big impacts. Make sure you guys are part of the 20% of people who watch my videos and are actually subscribed. And while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell button so you don't miss out on all the crazy stuff that I discover about the snapshots, as well as new contraptions for 1.18. Now let's check out all the new changes. The first change that they added in is to do with the noodle caves. Noodle ones are like spaghetti ones, but they are even thinner yet. Some of them are so thin that you can hardly even climb your way through them. So this is one right here. They used to be capped at Y level 130, meaning that you wouldn't ever see these guys intersect the surface above this level. But now they can, so this little teeny crack can actually make its way all the way to the surface, and they can be hard to see. So be careful when you're walking at even the highest points of the world, because you could slip into these cracks and possibly fall to your death. They also came in and made some parts of the terrain slightly more smoother. Look at these two images here. In the distance you can see it got a bit smoother overall, which means there's going to be less 3D noise. But by far the biggest change has to do with elytras. Now elytras will no longer take durability damage when you're just gliding with them. This is a huge change compared to before, and they will only actually take damage when you use rockets. So you don't actually need to have mending or unbreaking on your elytra anymore. They made this change because overall, the mountains are huge and massive, and they want people to just go zooming through the durability on their elytra, even if they didn't get mending on it yet. So now you can still like hop onto top of a mountain and glide your way about. But overall, rocket boosts have been reduced on how much they actually move you. Overall, they are not going to accelerate you forward as fast. And the reason that they did this is because elytra boosting with rockets was just pretty much the fastest way to get between places, meaning that other transportation methods were almost just redundant at that point. So they wanted to balance it out a bit, and for that reason, they made it so that you can't just like hit a whole bunch of rockets and just like keep zipping super fast forward and get from A to B really fast. Now, another reason why they did this is because a lot of times when players would zoom across the world really fast on servers, even in earlier versions of Minecraft, they really had a struggle trying to keep up with the player and loading, which was causing a lot of lag, and the players would also just end up loading a lot of chunks really fast. And they recognize with the new world height, it's even going to be a bit more difficult for servers to load the entire world up as before, because there is more blocks in each chunk, and they just overall don't want players zipping through, loading tons of chunks, lagging down servers, where servers will never really be able to get a grasp on how fast the new chunks are being loaded in. Overall, they just want to slow the player down a bit so that they kind of enjoy the terrain that they have around them instead of just zipping right on through it. Now, they did say that the gliding speed is exactly the same, so they didn't change anything about that, and it's just the rocket boosting which has been nerfed. They also came out saying that this will probably be the last experimental snapshot for 1.18, and they will be then coming out with actual snapshots for 1.18. Now, the reason why they came out with experimental snapshots in the beginning here is because there was so much changes that occurred in the very beginning stages of them working with this whole new world height limits as well as new terrain. They just knew that they were going to come in with many different things that they were going to try but then take out again. They didn't want to upset people by removing stuff that they had added just for testing. But along the way, they really changed the snapshots from the very first one to this current one. There has been a lot of tweaks, and all for the better. So in the actual snapshots, they're going to focus on more of the bug fixes, which you really didn't see bug fixes too much in these experimental ones. And they're also going to come out with other features that we heard about during the Minecraft live event, including the new biomes at the bottom of the world, which are going to be called the Deep Dark. These biomes are going to take advantage of the new 1.18 abilities, where biomes can be different depending on how high or low they are, such as we see with like the dripstone caves and the lush caves. And the Deep Dark is supposed to be at the bottom of the world and kind of have some vibes reminding you of the end dimension. So maybe it's some kind of lore that kind of connects the overworld with the end. And maybe it's kind of a way to teach players how they're supposed to get like Eyes of Ender and get into the end dimension. Kind of like we've seen in Igloos, where it teaches players how to cure villager zombies into villagers. This includes a new mob, the Warden. We also seen the sneak peeks of what it might look like. And more recently, we've seen the actual textures of these new blocks, as well as their names. We also are missing the feature of the goat horns, and that will also be added in 1.18, where the goats will hit things and then they will drop horns. You can actually farm those up. And on top of that, the goats in general just need to have their loot be given to them as they don't even have mutton as a drop. Also, we can look forward to them trying to figure out how they're going to make it so that we can still get deep slate emeralds, because currently 1.18 there's no way, since emeralds only generate from like the top of the world to partly down it, and deep slate variations or only occur from around Y level 0 downwards, and they don't really intersect each other. One way they could combat this is by coming in with the tough blocks above Y level 0, because any ores that generate inside of this stuff will be the deep slate variation. And you wouldn't necessarily actually have to have deep slate up above, but then again, having deep slate ore not in deep slate generation would just be weird. Plus, we can look forward to how they're going to make it so that you can take your old worlds and bring them into the new world without there being a huge, big, jagged border between the old biomes and the new biomes. They are going to make it so you can play your old worlds in these new 1.18 versions, but they just want to make sure that the old worlds aren't affected or destroyed, and they want to make sure that the transitions between the biomes look good. They also have to deal with how they're going to handle the very bottoms of the worlds, because now the depths are different, so there's going to be a big air gap underneath of the old world. So they're either going to have to fill it in with bedrock or put in a bedrock wall, or just leave it the way it is. And they're planning to try to get the release of 1.18 out before Christmas time this year. They also have to look into trying to reduce the amount of lag that occurs when generating in new chunks, as there's a lot more blocks per chunk that the game has to generate in. And on top of that, we also have the Minecraft live event coming up, where there's going to be sneak peeks of 1.19. So make sure to check out this video here to learn all about the Minecraft live event for 2021. And check out this playlist here if you want to learn about everything that has been changed in 1.18. I would like to thank you guys for watching, and I will see all you guys over at my Twitch stream. Bye bye!